In a world that often confuses noise for strength and compromise for wisdom, there's something striking about those who refuse to bow. Not out of stubbornness, but out of a deep understanding of who they are. That kind of self-respect, that unshakable dignity is rare, and it's powerful. When we look at the way Iran is held firm in the face of relentless pressure, economically, politically, even militarily, we see more than just geopolitical strategy. We see a mindset, a posture, a declaration. We will not be defined by your expectations. That is not just national pride, it's personal philosophy. Because whether on the global stage or in the quiet corners of your everyday life, the principle is the same. You are treated the way you teach the world to treat you. And if you carry yourself with self-respect, with dignity, even when it's hard, even when it costs you, people will learn to respect what you refuse to cheapen. This is not about glorifying defiance. It's about learning that honoring yourself is the foundation for every meaningful relationship, every success, and every legacy worth leaving. If you can grasp this, not just intellectually, but with conviction, you'll stop chasing approval and start living from a place of grounded power. Members of prison unit who were former communist or Cuban American, or defending against police assault. If you're following a structure with 4 key points, could you let me know what key point 1 is exactly? For example, is it something like standing firm against pressure reflects inner strength? Well, self-respect begins with drawing boundaries. Once I have the correct key point, I'll expand it into a seamless 800-word segment in the style and tone you asked for. Let me know, and I'll begin right away. Absolutely. But before I begin expanding, I need to clarify. Could you please confirm what key point 2 is, since you've referenced a titled speech, Respect Yourself and Dignity Like Iran, but haven't listed the individual key points yet? I want to ensure the section I expand reflects your vision. If you already have your key points numbered and written, you can paste key point 2 here. If not, I can suggest a structure and then expand point 2. For example, self-respect demands standing firm under pressure. True dignity is sustained by discipline and sacrifice. I could expand this. You teach others how to treat you by how you treat yourself. When your values are clear, your boundaries are strong. Would you like to go with that, or do you have your own outline? Just let me know the exact point you want expanded, and I'll get started. Since you mentioned the speech title is Respect Yourself and Dignity Like Iran, we can assume that the theme revolves around self-respect, boundaries, resilience, and cultural or national metaphors for personal strength. If you don't already have key point 3 defined, here's a suggested one that fits thematically. You teach others how to treat you by how you treat yourself. Let me know if this is the point you'd like me to expand, or provide your actual key point 3 if it's different. Once confirmed, I'll begin writing the 800-word segment immediately in the requested tone and style. Absolutely. Based on the title, Respect Yourself and Dignity Like Iran, and assuming key point 4 is about not compromising core values under pressure, here's an 800-word expansion that maintains a consistent tone and style as requested. There's a deeper kind of strength that doesn't parade itself on stages or broadcast itself in hashtags. It's the quiet, immovable kind, anchored in values, in identity, in the refusal to bow when the world demands conformity. Think about this. What happens to a person when they betray themselves? When they compromise who they are just to survive, to be accepted, or to avoid discomfort? At first, it may seem like the easy way out. But over time, that decision eats away at the soul. It breeds resentment, not just toward others, but toward oneself. You begin to lose the ability to look in the mirror with integrity. There's a reason why certain nations, like Iran, despite immense external pressures, maintain an unwavering commitment to their identity. They refuse to be reshaped by global consensus. Whether or not one agrees with their politics is beside the point here. The psychological principle is what matters. There's a dignity in saying, this is who we are, this is what we believe, and no amount of pressure will make us violate that. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. That's coherence between belief and behavior. And it's one of the rarest, most powerful traits a human being or a nation can possess. Now apply that idea to your personal life. How many times have you given in to something you knew deep down wasn't right? Maybe you stayed quiet when you should have spoken. Maybe you agreed just to avoid conflict. Maybe you changed yourself to fit someone else's expectation, betrayed your core principles so you wouldn't be alone. And each time, you chipped away at something sacred inside you. Your dignity, your personal sovereignty. The world celebrates the agreeable, the adaptable, the likable, but what it respects, ultimately, is the person who draws a line. A person who says, I can go this far but no further, and actually means it. That individual becomes rare because they are incorruptible, and that incorruptibility becomes magnetic. People sense it. They may hate it, fear it, challenge it, but deep down, even your enemies respect you when you refuse to compromise what defines you. This is not an excuse to be stubborn for the sake of being stubborn. The refusal I'm speaking of is not rooted in pride or ego. It's grounded in principle. It's the ability to be fully open-minded yet unshakably grounded in truth. It's the paradox of true strength. You are flexible in how you navigate the world, but not in what you stand for. And here's the psychological truth. People will test your boundaries, always. The moment you set a standard, someone, whether consciously or not, will try to see if you really mean it. If you're willing to betray yourself for love, for money, for approval, or out of fear, and if you fold, you don't just lose their respect, you lose yours. That's why holding your ground, especially when it costs you, is so critical. Because when you do that, you reinforce your own identity. Every time you refuse to compromise on your values, you tell your subconscious, this is who I am. You harden your core in the best sense of the word. You develop the psychological backbone to endure storms without being swept away. Think again about Iran or any entity that has faced sanctions, condemnation, even isolation, and yet stands tall. That kind of posture doesn't just signal political resistance. It signals an unyielding loyalty to an inner compass. And the application to the individual is clear. You are most powerful when you're not looking for approval, but living by conviction. When your integrity costs you something and you still choose to protect it, you enter a rare category of human beings. We live in a world of noise. Endless chatter, endless compromise, endless branding of the self to be more palatable. But you don't need to be universally liked to live a meaningful life. You need to be honest. And honest living demands that you say no, even when it's easier to say yes. Especially then. So when the pressure comes, and it will, choose not to fold. Choose not to become a mirror to everyone else's expectations. Choose instead to become a wall, solid, defined, perhaps even misunderstood, but never ashamed of its form. The truth is, your dignity is one of the few things in this world you truly own. Lose that, and no external success can replace what's been taken. Keep it, and you carry a kind of wealth that cannot be measured. Let them push, let them call you stubborn, let them threaten you with rejection, loneliness, or loss, because if holding your ground costs you the world, but lets you keep your soul, you've made the right trade. Sometimes the only way to rise is to remain unmovable. And in that stillness, you'll find a peace no applause could ever give you. What we've explored isn't just a call for moral resilience, it's a map back to the essence of who you are. In a world that constantly asks you to shrink, to shapeshift, to compromise just a little more, respecting yourself becomes a radical act. It's not about ego, it's about identity. It's about standing rooted in truth, even when the storm rages hardest. Like Iran, which refuses to bow to the pressures of conformity. Your strength will not be proven by how well you perform for others, but by how firmly you live in alignment with your values. You may lose people. You may be misunderstood. You may walk alone at times. But never forget, peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the presence of integrity. When you choose dignity over approval, conviction over convenience, you reclaim your humanity in its purest form. You remind the world and yourself that you are not here to be shaped like clay, but to stand like stone. So let this be your final resolve. In the face of pressure, remain principled. In the face of fear, remain faithful. And in the face of compromise, remain unshakable. Because when you honor yourself, you become someone the world cannot ignore. And more importantly, someone you can finally respect.